So hello, we are really excited today to be talking to best-selling author T.M. Logan. So hi and welcome to a virtual welcome to Sunny Will.
Hi, hello.
Thank you so much for joining us. So you've sold over 1 million copies. You've just had your 5th novel published, which in hardback, trust me, which I have got. I have to confess, I haven't read it yet, but I have got it ready in my pile to be read. And I believe it's just gone into the UK top 10 bestsellers. So well done, congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, just sort of got the news yesterday afternoon. So yeah, it's a real. I mean, it is a kind of a shock because I really didn't. I wasn't sure if it was going to reach that high, but because this competition in the top 10 is pretty scary. So, yeah. But it's great news. Great news.
So has it been a long journey to get there?
Well, it's my first hardback. So this is a 5th book, my first hardback. So. To be honest, I thought it would probably be that it might take a few more hardbacks, kind of, in the next couple of years to make it into the top 10. But overall, kind of the journey from sort of when I first started writing has been quite a long one.
Yeah. So when you're writing your books, what comes first? Do you come up with the plot first, or the characters? How do they appear to you?
It's normally kind of almost at the same time, so it's depended a bit with each book. So with Trust Me, it was very much kind of this one sort of kernel of an idea about a baby, and I was at an ice hockey match, a local team here at Nottingham, the Panthers, and there's a baby. A few rows in front of us in the stadium, there was a young family with a small baby. It's one of those babies that's kind of just really smiley and was just grinning at everybody and kind of, making eye contact with all the people around her, and just really cute. And I just, in one of those, I think it was in a bit of a boring moment in the match or something. It was just kind of, your mind wanders, and I just thought, I wonder if I could, remember what you're supposed to do when the baby's that small. And my kids are quite a bit older than that now, so they're sort of teenagers at that point. And I just thought, you have to learn so much so fast when the kids are that small, and all the stuff you have to carry with you, and all the timings and all that kind of stuff. And I was thinking, what if I've forgotten all that? If I could do it again, if I for some reason had to do it, and then I thought, well, so that's a sort of interesting situation. And then what if the real mother, kind of disappears, and you're in a situation where you can't immediately go and find a policeman or whatever, like on a train. So, and that was the sort of the genesis of it. And then very quickly after that, I thought of Ellen, who's the main character, and her sort of who's a person at a point in her own life where she's at a kind of a turning point, really, a kind of a crossroads. So, and I just thought that with those two elements, that's when I kind of started to sort of build the story and try to work out where I would go with it. So. Yeah, it depends. But some other books I've done, like The Holiday, where it was very much about these 4. It started off really with the characters and these 4 women who go away together. So some of your readers and viewers might have read that one. That was really very much around the characters to begin with. But yeah, it does. The plot and the characters tend to be quite sort of closely intertwined right from the beginning for me.
Yeah.
So.
And you're just always taking inspiration from everything around you. Then basically, you just see something.
Yeah, and it's those sort of that what if question is sort of always kind of on your mind. What could happen if this was the case, or with The Catch, which was my last book last year, that was kind of based on this idea that your kid's new partner comes into the family, and they're potentially going to be sort of your in-laws. You're sort of one of you're going to become part of your own family, and
it could happen to you. That's a scary thing, isn't it?
Yeah, and what if you just have sometimes, I don't get this very often, but sometimes you just have a really quick, like, visceral reaction to someone you don't really know, and I think that was the starting point of that was the what if question for The Catch. What if I meet my daughter's new partner / kind of fiance, and I just instantly think, there's something about this guy that I don't like,
Did he kick the cat or something? And you're like,
well, he did, yeah. He's a kind of a So that whole story kind of then becomes really about, do you is it the dad being a crazy, overprotective, kind of paranoid dad, or is there actually something, going on with this new sort of seemingly perfect boyfriend? So yeah, my brain, my sort of writer's brain is kind of a bit weird, and I'm always thinking about weird things like that. So
that sort of ties into my next question. Your books are real page turners, but the characters are so stressful. You're always thinking, oh no, don't do it. Why did you do that? They always do something and you think, oh no. So do you deliberately try and make it stressful for us as readers?
Yeah, I mean, I suppose the stressful sort of that's part of the tension. I suppose you want to try and create some tension between the characters and sort of between the reader and the characters as well, I suppose. But it's always about those, kind of, to have people sort of torn between doing two different things, I think is always quite an interesting sort of dynamic to look at for stories. And this, again, it's a theme that comes up in a lot of my books, is this idea that, you kind of head at the head and the heart. And so your head kind of really knows what you probably should do, but your heart is, telling you something else. And which one do you kind of obey, and which direction do you go? And the characters will sometimes do things or say things that, you'll be kind of like, don't do that. But it's if I feel like people are doing that, then I think I've kind of, at least I'm making them, relate to the story and to the characters. So
29
it's a kind of,
you do that in 29 seconds. You think, would I do that? And one thing you might be like, yeah, I'll do it, and then you're thinking, oh no.
Yeah, some people have been sort of messaged me about that and said, here's my list of people I'd like to get rid of, and I'd have like 15 of them. And then some people are like, I'd never do that. But people have different sort of
Do you get attached to your characters? Just thinking like the catch. Don't want to give any spoilers, but I was a bit shocked with that one when one of them was like, oh no.
I do get attached to them, and I think, but I think it's always I always try not to have a little bit of distance, because I don't want to get too attached because my books they're not like super. There's not like tons and tons of bad things, but there are always some bad things that are happening, and bad things happening to people, sort of good people. So. I always kind of always a bit aware of trying to keep a little bit of arm's length from the characters, so that I don't get too attached to, so that I can't do terrible things to them, at some point in the book. So but you obviously spend a lot of time in that. I'm writing your first draft now, and it's kind of a process of, including the planning. It's probably good 6 months, probably maybe a month or two of planning, and maybe 16, 18 weeks of writing. And you spend a lot of time with the characters, and you kind of start to think about them as kind of, and I have to stop myself in talking to my family, is talking about these people as if they're real, because because no one else at the moment knows them apart from me. So they only exist sort of on the screen here and in my head. So yeah, you do kind of, because you spend a lot of time with them, so you do sort of have a relationship with them. But unfortunately, there's always going to be some bad things happening. So someone's gonna, you can
never relax.
No. No.
You wouldn't consider, like, I'm a big fan of like the Jack Reacher books. You wouldn't ever consider keeping a character in a few different books and taking them on different adventures?
I would love to do that, actually. I would love to have a sort of series character, and I think that would be something that's kind of one of my aspirations, I suppose, for the near future. And every time I finish a first draft, I think, now I can sit down and spend the next half of the year writing my first of these series books, and then haven't quite got to it yet. But I would love to do that. I think it's probably maybe harder than it looks. I think one of the great things about Lee Child books is that I've read quite a few of them, had some on audiobook and stuff. So, but the fact that you can, and you don't really think about, I'd never really thought about this at the time, but the fact that you can pick them up in any order, and you don't have to read the first one, you can read the 10th one or the 15th one or the 5th one, and they all still kind of work. I think can be quite tricky, I think, because you don't if someone is coming in and thinking, well, I've got these 4 books, I've got to start at number 1 and go all the way through to 4. It's quite a challenge.
Definitely some you do, yeah.
But so writing a series, if I can write a series with a character where you can just dip in and out, I think that would be it's on my list. So watch this space. I will try and get there in the next I don't know, the next couple of years, hopefully.
So did you say before it takes you about 6 months then, does it, to write a book?
Yeah, it's about so it's maybe 6 to 8 weeks of planning, and then I have a sort of my writing target. Because I'm lucky enough to sort of do the writing full time, so my writing target is actually not that high compared to some other people that I've heard of. So I'm only trying to do about 1,200 words a day,
right?
And then I'll do some editing after that, and some other sort of admin work and other planning and stuff. So that works out to about 16, 17 weeks for a first draft. So if you can stick to that, 6,000 words a week, you'll end up with a book sort of somewhere around 100,000 words at the end of that 16, 17 weeks. So of course there's always kind of interruptions in those weeks and going away or doing whatever, so that it's normally more than that. But and then at the end of it, there's obviously normally a massive rush in the last sort of 2 weeks when I'm working 7 days a week and stuff. But so it's probably about 6 months. Then it'll go to my editor and agent, and then I'll get comments back from them. So then there's redrafts. You sort of have structural edit, then a line edit, then a copy edit. So all that process then sort of takes me through sort of the next, I don't know, 2, 3, 4 months. And so it's quite a long kind of process. I'm just writing my book 6 at the moment, which will come out next year, and that's due to be delivered on June the 1st, the first draft. So my contract says June the 1st. So probably in theory, I should be delivering it like before then. But
so you are working to plan constantly. Yeah,
I think it's probably going to be June 1st. So and then I'll have a short break, probably do some decorating, and wait for my edits to come back from my editor. So
right. I did see on your bio on your website, it says you're writing a cabin at the bottom of your garden. Is that right?
I'm in here now, actually. Yeah, so it's I'm in the cabin, and it's really my sort of dedicated writing space, and it's not got much in it apart from a desk and my computer, and obviously loads and loads of books, tons of books behind me, and those shelves actually behind me are full, and I'm now stacking them on the top as well. So I think I'm going to need to get another one, and it's got a kettle and all stuff. So and I can come down there in the morning and sort of draw the blinds and put my headphones on and just sort of crack on with the writing. So try not to be.
Go to work. You go to work.
It's kind of like so I just walk out the house. It's 14 steps from my house to the cabin. So that's my kind of commute in the morning. So it hasn't really changed, that much over the last year with all the lockdown and all those things. Because I've been, compared, my wife's been working from home for a year, and so compared to the changes for her, for lots of other people, most people, I've been really, really lucky to just be able to sort of carry on doing what I'm doing.
Do you think like the COVID landscape will go into any of your books? It's sort of been such a big part of our lives, hasn't it? Will we just block it out, or do you think it will appear in a novel somewhere?
I don't know. It's a good question, because I think it's going to be difficult for if you're writing a book and it's deliberately set in in 2020, and that's a part of the the architecture of the book, then I think it will be quite weird if you don't make reference to it. I think that would be quite strange. And I know there are some books, I've just read an advanced review copy of a book coming out soon, which does make reference to lockdown and to the beginning of the the pandemic and all those things. And I've seen a film on Netflix which is kind of based on a couple of years sort of in the future, and again with the sort of pandemic theme. I don't know whether people are going to be a bit wanting to move on from all this stuff when it finishes. I don't know, but I think it'll be much something I will probably mention in books if anything relates to 2020, because that's obviously that's the story of the year, isn't it? The story of that whole year, start to finish. So I'm just trying to think. This next book coming out next year is it will be set in obviously in 2022, because that's when it's coming out. So it's a current sort of modern day book. So I don't think I've got any pandemic references in that, but it could be. I haven't finished it yet, so it could be yet be mentioned.
Oh, I've seen somewhere that The Holiday is going to be on TV. Can you tell us any more about that?
Yeah, so it's been filmed. Actually, filming is supposed to be starting I think it's this Friday or Monday, when it's starting in Malta, and it's going to be a 4-part drama, which will be shown on Channel 5. And yeah, so I was in a it's quite a long process, because obviously the book comes out, and you can be approached by a TV company and they say they want to take an option, which is basically kind of reserving it for a year and a half to kind of, so that no one else can develop it, and then they try and attach kind of a production company and a script writer and all these things. So there's lots and lots of, this is all new to me, so I'm just kind of trying to learn it as I go along. So but yeah, I've seen the scripts, which are really good, and on Friday I sat in on a full cast read through of the first 2 episodes. Yeah, so it's on Zoom, so it's kind of it's kind of the story of the year, isn't it? But yeah, seeing all the people on Zoom was great, and hearing it kind of coming to life was very, it was a bit surreal, to be honest, because I'm kind of sitting there listening to all this, and obviously the script is quite different to the book, but it's similar in a lot of ways, but it's sort of line by line, it's kind of a lot tighter and a lot there's a lot, they've got to do a lot more with a lot less words, if you see what I mean. So they've got to make it, because each episode will have ad breaks, so each episode is like 48 minutes or something like that. And when you break it down, so that's each script was 50 odd pages, something like that. So when you're taking a book of say 400 pages, which is what the Holiday was, and you've got to slim it down in that way, you really got to make every single line kind of work, and make a move the story forward, sort of thing. So but yeah, no, it's really good. I don't know when it'll be out. I think they're filming over about 7 weeks in Malta, and I imagine that it'll be out, I'm sort of assuming towards the end of this year or maybe early next year. But it'll be good. I can't wait to see it on the screen and sort of see. I can't say who the cast is, because I've been told I can't tell anybody.
Are you happy with who they are?
Yeah. And even within the first 5 minutes of looking at the read through of the cast, and because my wife was watching it as well, and she's like, yeah, she's absolutely spot on. The main character is absolutely perfect, and now when I think about the book and I think about the character, I'm just seeing, I can really see her face. So yeah, it's I think it's going to be, it's a good cast, and I'm going to be I've got sort of high hopes for it. So
yeah, brilliant. Yeah, that's exciting. Would you ever consider writing under a pseudonym? Would you writing something completely different?
Yeah, I mean, Logan is a pseudonym anyway, so and I sort of took a pseudonym because my real name is kind of it's one of those names that often gets misspelled and misremembered, so it's kind of it's not, I had conversations quite early on before the first book came out about, do you want to, because I'd often go in somewhere and I'd ask for something under my own name, and they'd have filed it under a different name, and they'd be like, no, it's not spelled that way, it's spelled this way. So but yeah, so pseudonym is something I'm quite used to. I suppose I'd quite like to write in the sort of, if I was going to write another genre, I might write in the sort of historical genre, or historical stuff. Like I love Burnt Cornwell and people like that. So yeah, I suppose I could potentially write under a pseudonym. It'd be quite interesting to sort of start again, I suppose, from scratch. And I think it was, I always remember when J.K. Rowling started writing, is it Robert Galbraith, isn't it?
Right.
Pseudonym. I remember seeing I think she sort of tweeted out afterwards, not that I'm comparing myself to J.K. Rowling in any way, but it's a funny story about her, was when she sent the first the first Galbraith book out, and she's sort of getting all these rejections from agents and publishers saying, we think you should probably take some creative writing courses and all this sort of thing. So I thought that was kind of and the idea of having a new name and presenting yourself as a complete kind of unknown is quite an interesting idea. So yeah, maybe in the future, if I sort of go on a completely different road to the thrillers, then yeah, perhaps it might be nice to try that as well.
Different, yeah. That is all the questions that I've got to ask you. So thank you so much for joining us. We
No worries, no problem.
It's been lovely to chat to you, and we can't wait to read the book and to see the holiday on TV.
And thank you for inviting me. And I'd love to come back. One day when we can do sort of events for real. I obviously want to come out, and it'd be nice to do a real kind of real life library event. I'm sort of forgetting what they're actually like, kind of, but it'd be nice to to go out there and meet people, because I love writing, but it is quite a solitary thing. So it is great to come out and speak to readers and meet people and do real events. So yeah, that'd be nice. Maybe for next year.
Get a visit to the seaside.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you very much for spending time with us today.
No, it's fine. It's great. And yeah, so just I'd love to come back and do some other things. So yeah, just let me know or drop me a line.
Yeah, will do. Thanks very much.
All right, brilliant. Thanks, Debbie. Cheers. Bye.